Kurtzpel, the game that has been floating around the MMO light space for quite some time. Similar to the way an empty Pepsi bottle floats in the pool you asked mommy and daddy for when you were little, except instead of giving you a cool ass in-ground pool, it was one of those small lame above ground ones. But who am I kidding? I was poor. Okay, that's not entirely accurate. I'm still poor. Kurtzpel is an action instanced MMO light made by KOG Games. It is a parallel world off of their previous game Grand Chase, Dimensional Chaser, that will most definitely get your anime waifu blood boiling all the way from the cool combat mechanics and crazy all over the place combos that'll make your eyeballs melt because oh geez, what is this game? Now, before I start rolling into the video, I do want to take a second to mention that if you're the type of person who loves gaming and loves to laugh, then remember to show your support by clicking the like icon, and remember to subscribe to my channel to get any updates on the games I've been playing. Thank you. As I was saying, blood boiling. This game may or may not be worth your time, and it all greatly depends on how much boob jiggle physics and short skirts you enjoy, and the amount of fun you get from doing PvP content. Now, that's not to say that there is no PvE or story to the game, but it's definitely not a highlight of the game, and here's why. You start off the game with a series of short questions that you will have no idea what they're for, which actually determine how cool looking your character stance will be. So, solid choice, KOG. Next, you'll have a character creator, which is not the best, but good enough character customization to get the job done. But I must preface this with saying that I'm not so sweaty as to spend hours making many of my characters, so this may be biased. The story involves some land called Asteria that ends up facing annihilation from an evil deity, and a bunch of these ancient Kurtzpels or legendary heroes of the past were imprisoned inside the Tower of Gods during the Great Change, blah blah blah. When the annihilation happened. And then 400 years later, their descendants create an organization called the Chase to go against the religious dogma of the so-called Holy Bellatos or Bellatos, whatever, empire, and everyone is trying to spread the truth. Something about this reminds me of a super woke infomercial. Yeah, I'm actually just reading this off of their website, and it can be pretty hard to follow once you get into the game due to the nature of accepting quests. Quests are monotonous, and to build relationships requires you to go and chase down these heroes to receive cosmetic items or level up and get class-specific weapons. Now, if you like dressing up as a kid who stepped into a Toys R Us and saw the Hot Wheels section and decided to go all out on an outfit, then make sure to progress your chaser all the way to the end to reap these benefits. Once you actually track down these chasers while doing PvP or PvP, then you're greeted with what are basically just recycled dialogues that you're supposed to go through in a specific order to get and build up the maximum amount of XP for relationships. If I wanted to play a dating sim, then I would have played this game. Anyway, it's obvious that these devs have a sense of humor given that one of their chasers is called Krimply. Yeah, you heard correctly, Krimply. Now, the shining beacon of this game is definitely the combat. You have two main categories for weapons, one being Breaker and the other Slayer. Any weapon that is the Breaker subtype shatters the break bar, allowing you to stun the opponent and destroy the main HP of your opponents much more effectively, which, if you're familiar with some other MMOs like GW2, is nothing new. Slayers are really good for dealing out tons of damage and are really bad at chipping away that break bar. Given that there are 4 starter weapons, Blazing Fist, Dance of Wind, Sword of Talia, and Diabolic Witch, and on top of that, Dual Souls and Sacred Guardian, which you can flat out buy or grind for a good set of hours, you'll have a lot of options to demolish your enemies. Now, the best way I can describe the combat is like you're playing a Naruto game with Blaze Blue weapons with Street Fighter V delay on all hits and combos, if you can imagine that. Still, it plays out really well when you're with a buddy or some rando in the 3 main types of PvP, which are basically Deathmatch, a 2-point control mode, and a single point control like CTF mode where you and your opponent fight for the same flag, and you basically have to stand there long enough grabbing the flag to get a point. Now, I want to preface some of my criticisms with the fact that KOG, in my honest opinion, has really been making a lot of good attempts at updating the game and listening to their community. This is evident in the fact that you used to be able to 100 to 0 people in this game, and when too many players complained, they found a mechanic that utilizes what would be your ultimate as a means to break out of it, which, if I'm being honest, I'm not entirely sold on yet. As for my criticisms, the main things to do in this game are really to play PvP. Hope that there is more raid type content, if you can really even call it that, because there's this one boss you fight that just has a bunch of stages to him. So it's not really like a full-on raid or anything like that. The way you get items can be a a pain, because you have to break down these really rare drops to get certain materials to then craft other clothing that you want, which can really take a lot of time. But oh well, I guess, you know, you can still do it. It's free. A lot of people don't really mind the grind for the DLC weapons though, because again, they're free, and you can also sell a lot of the items that you do acquire on the Steam marketplace after like 7 days of it being up or something like that, which I think is pretty darn cool for the economy. This game is definitely better with a friend due to the amount of grind it involves, and it isn't very populated, so sometimes you'll be waiting a while when you're queuing for an instance. Overall though, I think this game gets way more flack than it deserves, and I'd recommend that you check it out yourself and tell us below in the comments what you think. Is the combat the best part, or do you enjoy the PvE elements? Is this a game that you could see getting bigger in the future, and do you think KOG is going to be able to support it? Also, be sure to tell me how I'm doing in these videos, as I'm sure I got a bunch wrong, so I can continue to constantly improve and make better content for all of you. So that's it for this video. This is 1HP, and I'll see all of you in the next video.